Good morning and welcome. My name is Nigel Gravesande. I'm the university's registrar, and we are going to start this historic ceremony today. I invite you to stand for the national anthem of the Co-operative Republic of Guyana. Thank you. Be seated. We are starting today. We expect to be joined later on by His Excellency the President, but we have been authorized to continue this very important and historic award ceremony at which the University of Guyana's Institute for Human Resiliency, Strategic Security in the Future will be the recipient of the 2023 Perry Center Award for Hemispheric Defense Studies in recognition of its excellence in security and defense education. Your Excellency, the United States Ambassador to the Co-operative Republic of Guyana, Ambassador Nicole D. Theriot, our esteemed Vice-Chancellor of the University of Guyana, Professor Paloma Mohamed Martin, Colonel Sheldon HowellDirector of the National Intelligence and Security Agency, Brigadier Omar Chief of Staff of the Guyana Defense Force, Dr. Paul J. Angelo, and distinguished team members of the William J. Perry Center for Hemispheric Defense Studies, Security Advisor to His Excellency the President of the Co-operative Republic, Captain Jerry Govaya, members of the University of Guyana senior management team, as well as the director and faculty members of the Institute of Human Resiliency, Strategic Security and the Future, esteemed officials of the security and disciplined forces of the Co-operative Republic of Guyana, other specially invited guests, members of the media, both electronic and print, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Today is indeed historic. Historic for the University of Guyana celebrating its 60th year of existence, and in fact, continuing in the path of its mission as articulated through its establishment more than 60 years ago by an act of Parliament. It is the proud state premier institution of this, our beloved country. And therefore, today's ceremony is not only reflective of an accolade that has been given to our university, but all of Guyana is extremely proud to be the recipient of this award. To put it in some context, therefore, it is my pleasure to invite to deliver some brief remarks Colonel Sheldon Howell, the Director of the National Intelligence and Security Agency of the Co-operative Republic of Guyana, to bring these remarks. And please help me to welcome him as he delivers these remarks.
Mr. Chairman, Chief of Defense Staff, and Chairman of the Joint Services Coordinating Council, Brigadier Omar Khan, our National Security Advisor, Captain Gerald Gavayo, other heads of services and agencies, retired Guyana Defense Force Chief of Staff, Rear Admiral Gary Best, other senior retired officers, notably Brigadier Bruce Lovell and Colonel Wilbert Lee, the United States Ambassador, Ms. Nicole Theriot, and other senior embassy staff, Head of the Defense Secretariat, retired Colonel Ronald Hercules, Guyana's military attaché to the United States, Colonel Julius Skeet, members of the Central Management Committee of the Guyana Defense Force, Vice-Chancellor of the University of Guyana, Dr. Paloma Mohamed, other University of Guyana's faculty heads, doctors and professors, more importantly, our esteemed guests from the William J. Perry Center of Hemispheric Studies, Director Paul Angelo, the United States Southern Command Representative, retired Colonel Patrick Mathes, Strategic Communications Director Darla Jordan, Program Manager Cara Orion, Professor Louise Bettencourt, Dean of Graduate Studies, Dr. Mark Hamilton, other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning all and welcome. It is with great pleasure and profound gratitude that I stand before you as the Director of the National Intelligence and Security Agency to celebrate the University of Guyana's selection for the coveted William J. Perry Award for Excellence in the Security and Defense Education. Allow me to begin these remarks by establishing that the William J. Perry Center plays a pivotal role in advancing security cooperation and education across the Americas, fostering collaboration and understanding among military and civilian leaders. As such, receiving an award of excellence from this prestigious institution validates our contributions to regional stability and signifies a commitment to promoting security and cooperation in the Western Hemisphere. It means, therefore, that this nomination stands as a testament to the government of Guyana and the university's unwavering dedication to academic excellence and its pivotal role in shaping the future of security and defense education in our nation. As I look across this room, I am filled with pride and joy to see a group of educators who, without the expectation of any award, answered the call and has dedicated and continue to dedicate their valuable time to mold the nation's leaders, especially in the execution of the Master of Science in Strategic Development Studies program, for which this award is being presented. And I will pause and ask us to stand for the arrival of His Excellency the President. Your Excellency, the President of the Co-operative Republic of Guyana and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Dr. Mohamed Irfaan Ali, welcome. And I will continue. As we commemorate this momentous occasion, it is imperative that we reflect upon the remarkable journey that has brought us to this moment. The creation of the program about 2 years ago underscores the visionary leadership of our President and the commitment of Brigadier Omar Khan, the then Director of the National Intelligence and Security Agency, and the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Paloma Mohamed, and their respective teams, who are the true developers of the program. It is indicative to the recognition that in an era of unprecedented economic development and evolving and unprecedented security challenges, education emerges as an effective instrument to navigate the complexities of our strategic environment. Ladies and gentlemen, as I pondered on the award, I also reflected on the question of whether our Commander-in-Chief's intent was achieved. To this end, I revisited His Excellency's address at the launch of the program in this very lecture theater on the 28th of March, 2022. He covered approximately 20 strategic points. However, in the interest of time, I will highlight just 3 that I thought was relevant to this ceremony. He wanted policymakers. He wanted the program to align theory and practice with real-life problems and developing the capability of each individual to strategically deal with those challenges and prepare them to understand future challenges by appreciating the evolution of such challenges. The program was not meant only for Guyanese. The aim was to start with CARICOM members in order to forge integration of the regional agenda. And lastly, There was to be collaboration through Memorandum of Understandings with the Perry Center and the National Defense University with the aim to strengthen our relationship and then move to a position where we can have the regional programs that are done at the National Defense University as part of this program. Well, as far as my interaction with the Vice-Chancellor and Ms. Hopkinson, the Program Director, along with my own covert operations, my findings suggest that while there is much work to be done to build on the course, His Excellency's intent was achieved. So far, 2 cohorts of policymakers would have been trained, with a total of 17 graduates, including 4 servicemen, of which our own Director of Prisons was part of. There were also 6 females and 1 foreign student from Belize. As well, through further collaborative efforts with the National Intelligence and Security Agency, the Guyana Defense Force, and other key stakeholders like the Perry Center, the university has institutionalized and systemized the provision of high-quality education to leaders and high-level managers across the various sectors. Moreover, the impact of the university's initiatives extends far beyond our borders, resonating throughout the wider Caribbean region. By fostering public dialogue and discussion on critical issues such as democracy, the rule of law, and security, the university has played a pivotal role in promoting awareness, partnership, and stability in our nation and beyond. As we celebrate this accomplishment, let us remember that this is being acknowledged amidst Guyana's perennial border controversy with Venezuela, among other evolving national threats and opportunities. The ongoing gang-fueled security crisis in Haiti, which I know our CARICOM chairman has been surviving on little sleep per day and extensive traveling to resolve this issue. The war in Ukraine and Gaza, the ongoing conflicts in African nations like Sudan, Somalia, Nigeria, and Burkina Faso, all of which has a propensity to affect us as part of the connected geospatial landscape. We must also acknowledge the profound sacrifices made along the way by our servicemen. In this regard, the tragic loss of Lieutenant Colonel Sean Welcome, who is part of the cohort, serves as a stark reminder of the inherent risks and challenges faced by those who dedicate their lives to the service of our nation. Finally, as most of you may know, the journey on defense education in Guyana is just beginning. In this regard, the Institute of Human Resilience, Strategic Security, and the Future has already rolled out 2 more programs, an information gathering course and an intelligence analysis certificate. In addition, and more importantly, the establishment of a defense institute is underway. Again, the guidance of our Commander-in-Chief in this regard solidifies the commitment to fortifying our national defense capabilities in face of evolving threats and opportunities. The Institute's sustainability will be dependent on our strong collaborative relationship with the University of Guyana and other stakeholders like the Perry Center. This initiative should prove to be the catalyst for the proactive approach in shaping the strategic landscape of our nation, positioning Guyana as a beacon of stability and progress in the global arena. I wish to end by expressing my sincerest gratitude to the President for taking time off of his busy schedule to be here to celebrate with us. To the Perry Center for the recognition bestowed upon the University of Guyana. Your acknowledgement of the university's contribution to security and defense education is a testament to the transformative power of education in building a safer and more secure future for all. I thank you very much.
Thank you kindly, Colonel Sheldon Howell, for that contextual and historic overview that saw the genesis of what we are celebrating today. Thank you kindly. Please let's give him a big round of applause. There is a certain historic symbolism about today, the 13th of March, 2024. It was a day 46 years ago when the English-speaking Caribbean witnessed a revolution overturning a democratically elected government in Grenada. It was the United States. Ever since then, they journeyed with the CARICOM member states to bring about the restoration of democracy. Our next presenter is the ambassador, extraordinary and plenipotentiary of the United States to the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. And she's going to bring us some remarks. And as she brings us remarks, we note in the Republic here the recent 48-hour diplomacy when the U.S. Secretary of State journeyed and joined our own president in his capacity as chairman of the Caribbean community to treat with a hemispheric issue, and we are happy for that intervention. Let us welcome appropriately Her Excellency, the Ambassador of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, the U.S. Ambassador, as she brings us some brief remarks. Please welcome her.
His Excellency, Dr. Mohamed Irfaan Ali, President of the Cooperative Republic. Brigadier Omar Khan, Chief of Staff, Guyana Defense Force. Colonel Sheldon Howell, Director of NISA. Captain Jerry Gavaya, National Security Advisor. Is it not working? Okay. Try again. Vice-Chancellor of the University of Guyana, Dr. Paloma Mohamed. Dr. Paul Angelo, Director, the William J. Perry Center. Faculty, staff, and students of the University of Guyana. Faculty and staff of the William J. Perry Center and the Inter-American Defense College, alumni of the Inter-American Defense College, including our own Colonel Retired Hercules, members of the Diplomatic Corps, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I want to extend my heartfelt congratulations to the University of Guyana's faculty and staff for winning this prestigious William J. Perry Center Award for Excellence in Security and Defense Education. I also want to extend congratulations to President Ali, his government, and Brigadier Khan for their work not only in helping establish this critical curriculum, but also for their continued efforts to ensure Guyana's current and future leaders are well equipped to meet the challenges they will encounter. President Ali, himself an alumni of the Perry Center, led by example with one of the most complex, distressing security challenges anyone might ever face, the devolving security situation in Haiti. As many of you know, I lived and worked in Haiti for several years, up until July 2022. So I know firsthand how incredibly difficult that security situation really is. So I want to applaud and thank His Excellency, President Ali, with all my heart for his incredible leadership in Jamaica on Monday, for what we all desperately hope will be the first step to end the security and humanitarian crisis in that incredibly fraught country. Thank you, President Ali. I also want to thank the faculty and staff of the Perry Center and the Inter-American Defense College, who traveled to Guyana to present this prestigious award. In fact, one of your most distinguished alumni is not in the room today, because unfortunately he's on official travel, but he's our very own Prime Minister, Brigadier Mark Phillips. It is both a privilege and an honor to stand before you as the U.S. Ambassador to Guyana, representing our enduring partnership and the shared values that bring us together as we all celebrate this outstanding achievement. As Guyana has arrived on the world stage, President Ali asked a simple question: how does a rapidly developing small state balance growth and development with mitigating traditional and non-traditional security threats? The simple question led to the creation of UG's Masters of Science in Strategic Development Studies. Developing this curricula in the span of just 6 months in 2021 to receiving its first cohort of students in March 2022 is a testament to the drive, dedication, innovation, and ingenuity of Brigadier Khan, Vice-Chancellor Mohamed, the university's professors and staff, and others who worked so hard to make this program possible. Now, Guyana has its first 16 graduates of the program less than 3 years later. This award is also yet another demonstration of the excellent collaboration between the United States and Guyana for the advancement of both our nations and our shared values in support of a prosperous, peaceful region. Throughout UG and Brigadier Khan's development of this master's program, the United States government and the Perry Center were ready and willing partners in advising on potential curriculum and solutions in addressing Guyana's security challenges, providing expertise and offering support as Guyana blazed this important trail. As we reflect on this outstanding achievement, it is critical to remember that the students of UG's program are the foundation of this success. Their commitment to knowledge and developing Guyana's future is an inspiration to us all. The commitment to developing the talent of Guyana to meet the challenges of tomorrow is vital for the continued growth and prosperity of the country and indeed the entire region. And with new and more complex challenges occurring every single day, Ukraine, Gaza, even the rapid expansion of gangs and skyrocketing murder rate in Trinidad and Tobago, to name just a few, there has never been a more important time for these bright, accomplished students to take their place as leaders. And this, of course, is not the end of our collaboration. This year has already seen the deepening of our bilateral relationship across multiple sectors, especially in defense and security. The United States stands as a steadfast partner as we continue to work shoulder to shoulder with the government and people of Guyana towards an even more prosperous, inclusive, and secure region. I couldn't be more excited to be here to watch with all of you our shared future take shape. Thank you so much, and congratulations again to UG for this very prestigious award. Thank you.
Ambassador, we thank you for your reaffirmation. We thank you for your connection in this hemisphere. but more importantly, the University of Guyana and all of Guyana, thank you for the excitement and oratory in which that was delivered. Let's give Her Excellency, please, a round of applause. I have the very distinct pleasure of inviting the next speaker, who brought a critical, insightful, and deeply analytical mind in his interlocutory conversations with our own visionary Vice-Chancellor that set the seeds for the commencement of this program. Today, it was that intellectual and visionary collaboration that we are honoring. It is my pleasure, Brigadier Omar Khan, to invite you to deliver some brief remarks. Let's welcome him appropriately, please.
Thank you, Dr. Gravesande. His Excellency, the President of the Co-operative Republic of Guyana and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Dr. Mohamed Irfaan Ali, National Security Advisor, Captain Gerald Gavaya, Director, the National Intelligence and Security Agency, Colonel Sheldon Howell, Vice-Chancellor of the University of Guyana, Dr. Paloma, Mohamed Martin, Her Excellency, United States Ambassador to Guyana, Ambassador Nicole Theriot, Director for the Institute of Human Resiliency, Strategic Security and the Future, Mrs. Debbie Hopkinson, Head of our Defense Secretariat, Colonel Retired Ronald Hercules, Director of the William J. Perry Center for Hemispheric Defense Studies, Dr. Paul Angelo, Professor Louis Betancourt, Professor Dr. Mark Hamilton of the Inter-American Defense College, esteemed members and senior officers of the Guyana Defense Force, other members of the University of Guyana, alumni of the Perry Center, retired chiefs of staff, military attaches, liaison officers, and I single out Colonel Julius Skeet, our first resident military attache to Washington, members of the Diplomatic Corps, other distinguished attendees, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. I am truly happy to have been invited to give brief remarks and to share this moment as we celebrate this August event. Thank you for your presence, all of you, particularly Dr. Angelo and team from the Perry Center, and Dr. Hamilton from the Inter-American Defense College for traveling and being here yourself and to present to the University of Guyana the William J. Perry Center Award for Excellence in Security and Defense Education. Commander-in-Chief, your presence here too is most indicative of your own interest, vision, to institutionalize strategic studies geared towards that concept of national development. This is your vision being realized through the University of Guyana. Colonel Howell would have articulated some way in his speech the historic journey of this feat. But I would like to say when we embarked years ago of introducing the Masters of Strategic Development Studies In the university curriculum, the primary goal was to equip our mid to senior level managers across all sectors with the knowledge and skills necessary to make strategic assessments of our own contemporary environment and to guide them in policy and decision making, all in a coherent manner and in the spirit of national and strategic collaboration. We all know how imperative it is to have leaders across the various sectors prepared and equipped to respond to today's challenges and be proactive to address new and emerging situations, especially regarding the safety of our people and the security of our democracy and sovereignty. Already, we have seen the tremendous strides made in this regard. Not totally as a result of this particular program, but the pace at which Guyana, under the presidency of Dr. Irfaan Ali, moving at a pace our development, and the need to prepare our next generation of leaders across the various sectors for the future. This program, I want to believe, could not have come at a better time. Our Commander-in-Chief has been a visionary in this journey. And of particular note, he continued to stress the importance of strategic partnership in maintaining a stable, hemispheric, and global security environment, and the need to position Guyana to best prepare itself to complement these efforts. National development, our own national development, hinges on these factors. Collaborating, therefore, with institutions like the Perry Center and the Inter-American Defense College has been part of this very process. And there is a plan to expand this network further for wider and increased synergy. Last year, when it was announced that the University of Guyana would receive the William J. Perry Award for Excellence in Security and Defense Education, it confirmed the validity of the program, the work that went into it to make it a reality, and from the very partnership we are witnessing today. This award, I am told, is only reserved for individuals and institutions in recognition of significant contributions in the field of security and defense education in the Americas. As a country, we are truly humbled to receive this recognition. Congratulations to the University of Guyana and all those who were involved. The team headed by Dr. Jacqueline Murray and comprising others, senior officials from the University of Guyana, work diligently to bring this program to fruition. Thank you all. I must particularly acknowledge the support of the Perry Center and the Inter-American Defense College. Dr. Betancourt of the Perry Center has been working with us for many years, lending his expertise in defense and security education. Major General retired James Taylor, then the director of the Inter-American Defense College, visited Guyana 2 years ago and shared the experience and expertise in educating leaders for strategic national defense and development. Former Ambassador Sarah Lynch was instrumental in having this relevant coordination done and the follow-on MOUs that resulted. Vice-Chancellor, you also have led the way and facilitated this process to where it is today. Thank you. If anything else, this represents true partnership and the passion to promote strategic studies across our region. In all, we should understand this is just the beginning and there's more work to be done. And so moving forward, we anticipate increased collaboration with our partners and all involved on matters of education and research in areas of strategic studies. Already, as mentioned by Colonel Howell, we are planning to discuss later today the establishment of a defense institute, another significant directive by His Excellency, Dr. Irfaan. In closing, I thank all of you again for making this journey a success and for being here to share the moment. I am to say, a better Guyana leads us closer to a better region. A better region leads us closer to a better world. For me, I'm honored to have been part of this journey. Congratulations to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you kindly, Chief of Staff, for those words and remarks. At the university, we are particularly pleased about your acknowledgement for the collaborative spirit in which this journey went and the process has evolved. And we look forward to greater areas of collaboration as we strengthen the fabric of every aspect of human resiliency in this, the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. It's time now to listen to remarks from the William J. Perry Center, which will be brought to us by its director. It was on September 3rd, 1997, that the Perry Center for Defense was established some 27 years ago. And at your 20th anniversary celebrations, some 7 years ago, the words resonating from your director with the greatest respect are very relevant and even more compelling now. This is what your director said, and I quote, 7 years ago, "The center has been empowering defense and security professionals in the Americas, supporting partnerships with institutions to build research, build shared knowledge, and fostering dialogue in the Americas. This connecting network of engagement will be the panacea for forging deeper collaboration. Guyana, and indeed the University of Guyana, has and continues to benefit from that vision." Sir, with those introductory remarks, allow me to invite Dr. Paul J. Angelo from the William J. Perry Center for Hemispheric Defense Studies to bring some remarks to us on this auspicious occasion. Please give him a tremendous welcome.
His Excellency of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, President Ali, Chief of Staff of the Guyana Defense Force, Brigadier Khan, National Security Advisor, Jerry Guevara, Colonel Howell, Vice-Chancellor Dr. Paloma Mohamed, Ambassador Theriot, members of the Diplomatic Corps, senior government officials, attachés, members of the Perry Center and Inter-American Defense College families, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the presentation of the 2023 William J. Perry Award for Excellence in Security and Defense Education. I am Dr. Paul Angelo, Director of the William J. Perry Center for Hemispheric Defense Studies at the National Defense University in Washington. It is an honor and a privilege to participate in this event today. To celebrate the living legacy of Secretary Perry, our center, and the contributions of our faculty, alumni, and partner institutions in building capable security and defense sectors across the Americas. Those that embody democratic values and embrace positive civil-military relations. At the Perry Center, everything we do is based on trust. To this day, we maintain nearly 27 years of trust building with individuals and institutions committed to making the Americas safer, stronger, more resilient, and more prosperous. As we honor the University of Guyana with the Perry Award, we are not just celebrating an academic achievement. We are recognizing a partner in peace, a leader in education, and a pivotal player in resolving the most pressing regional issues of our times. In 2020, President Ali asked the Guyanese National Intelligence and Security Agency, how does a rapidly developing small state balance growth and development while mitigating traditional and non-traditional security threats? This is a valid question and a legitimate concern. Guyana must now navigate a path amid challenges related to climate change, a territorial dispute, and unprecedented economic growth. Climate disasters threaten to upend stability and diminish the development derived from Guyana's recent oil discoveries. Further, the country's oil bonanza poses the question of how to avoid the resource curse plaguing other petrostates across the globe. Haiti's own security problems have region-wide implications to which President Ali has answered the call in charting a regional course forward. And make no mistake, in 2024, authoritarianism is once again on the rise in our shared neighborhood. In some corners, security and defense forces are being deployed in ways that disturb regional stability and undermine human rights. But we know we can count on Guyana's leadership. And one resounding answer to Guyana's challenges has been to develop and expand the country's security and defense capabilities through education and international collaboration with partners. Through its Master of Science in Strategic Development Studies, the University of Guyana has produced tangible benefits for the security sector, especially within the Guyana Defense Force. Graduates from each cohort of students, including an officer currently enrolled in our Armed Violence Reduction and Prevention course in Washington, D.C., highlight how the master's program has broadened their analysis on hemispheric security and defense issues and has provided a deeper appreciation for the strategic environment in which they operate. The program's focus on interagency collaboration and whole-of-government solutions emphasizes a unified approach in addressing multifaceted security and defense challenges. After finishing the master's degree, students are equipped with the necessary skills to participate in a diverse array of professional settings. For instance, the same Guyanese officer who informed me that the Master's in Strategic Development Studies prepared him for our course at the Perry Center and made it easier for him to participate and contribute in classroom discussions with representatives from 20 other countries in this hemisphere. As the Master's in Strategic Development Studies suggests, the University of Guyana is the nucleus of a much broader national pivot toward hemispheric leadership and represents a vital platform for public dialogue about Guyana's role in the Americas and in the world. The program represents the premier space for policymakers, civil society, government employees, and the private sector to discuss Guyana's today and tomorrow. These efforts represent the best of our Perry Center community of practice and honor the legacy of Secretary Perry in the founding of our beloved center, who charged us with the responsibility to, quote, prepare the next generation to achieve the goals of peace, prosperity, and cooperation that we in this hemisphere hold dear. After all, the ties between Guyana and the United States run deep. Since the 1960s, the United States and Guyana have maintained a history of trade, economic development, and collaboration to empower civil society, promote stability, and enhance security. And over the last year, the United States has reinforced the U.S.-Guyana bilateral relationship with recent visits from the U.S. Secretary of State, the U.S. Southern Command Commander, and the U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Ambassador Thomas Greenfield. At the Perry Center, we are honored to recognize the 73 Guyanese nationals, civilian and uniformed alike, who have graduated from the Center's executive education courses, including His Excellency President Ali, a dedicated participant in our 2008 Caribbean Security and Defense course. Each and every one of our Guyanese alums represents Guyana's aspiration for a secure and peaceful future. Likewise, our recent engagement with GDF officials at regional security conferences such as the Caribbean Nations Security Conference and the South American Nations Defense Conference, and most notably, President Ali's visit to the Perry Center last September, have reinforced our institutional commitment to broadening the dimensions of our partnership. It is clear to me from these events and engagements that we share the same vision and come to the table with the same set of operating assumptions. Chiefly, that Guyana's development and prosperity can only be assured by Guyana's ability to defend itself. Amid the ongoing Essequibo situation, we are reminded of the principles of sovereignty, respect, and peaceful resolution as the cornerstones of regional stability. The Perry Center reaffirms its steadfast partnership with Guyana, its defense institutions, and our cherished academic partner, the University of Guyana. The role of academic institutions like the university in shaping the conversation cannot be overstated. Sustainable solutions emerge through the power of education, research, and open dialogue. In, quote, serving Guyana, as the motto invokes, you serve the region and the world. In this vein, we look forward to continuing our support for the University of Guyana's Master of Science in Strategic Development Studies. The Perry Center wholeheartedly believes that bolstering education and institutional capacity is foundational to sustainable growth. And we commend President Ali and Brigadier Khan on their trailblazing efforts to launch such an ambitious program. This master's program is a generational investment, and the Perry Center is honored to be part of such a visionary initiative. By presenting the University of Guyana with last year's Perry Award, we are not just acknowledging its academic contributions, we are affirming our future support in its endeavor to navigate complex geopolitical issues. On behalf of the faculty, staff, and all of the Perry Center family, I thank the University of Guyana for your partnership in helping us fortify the institutions and the institutional network responsible for mounting solutions to our shared challenges. I look forward to building on the momentum that we have created together in the days and years to come. May this award serve as a beacon of inspiration for continued excellence and collaboration in pursuing a safer, more secure region. Please join me in a round of applause for the university and the partnership we have forged together. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Dr. Paul J. Angelo, for those very positive and insightful remarks. At the university, it has not gone unnoticed of your acknowledgement of the collaboration and the role that the only state institution can play in shaping the national conversation on security and security-related issues. Thank you so much. I am humbled, but very happy to invite His Excellency Dr. Mohamed Irfaan Ali, President of the Co-operative Republic of Guyana, to address us. and to indicate, sir, that a number of significant milestones would have been made during your presidency. It was your acknowledgement and recognition of the importance of security that brought Guyana and inked the agreement for Guyana being an active member of the regional security system within CARICOM. It was your leadership, and this would be forever etched in the permanent annals of our history, that have had as a single chairman of CARICOM deal with a complexity of 7 in your term of office, security-related issues. And over the last 48 hours, you may not have noticed, given your busy schedule, that 52 journals acknowledged your seminal leadership at the very difficult and complex navigation in our own hemisphere in Haiti. Your leadership, sir, has been acknowledged, and we are glad to share this with the rest of our region. Allow me to invite you, sir, to address us. Let us stand and appropriately greet His Excellency.
Thank you. Please have a seat. Thank you very kindly. Dr. Nigel, Gravesande, thank you very much for those very kind words. But I assure you, it is the hard work of a collective, a team, and I'm just tremendously proud to be part of the collective and the team. Today we celebrate, once again, what teamwork is, what collective action is, what strategic position is. And I want to really ask us to put our hands together for this tremendous partnership between first of all, between the United States of America and Guyana. This is not only a strategic partnership, this is a partnership we cherish tremendously. This is a partnership that we are nurturing tremendously, not only on the security front, but on the economic front. And it is because of this partnership at the country level that we are now having institutional partnership, and that is what we celebrate today, the partnership between the National Defense University, the Perry Center, and the University of Guyana. But there are many other institutional partnerships that are ongoing in discussion and in implementation stage as I speak to you today. And I want to recognize, and soon you will see the fruits of those partnerships. I also want to recognize, of course, Ambassador Nicole. You have been a very strong pillar of this partnership, and you have led diligently from the front in representing the U.S. here and in working together in strengthening this partnership. I also want to acknowledge our Chief of Defense Staff. We still have to get it right on the programs. Our Chief of Defense Staff, Omar, Colonel Sheldon, and entire senior command of the Guyana Defense Force. I see Ken also here, and I see our ambassador, our defense, military defense personnel, our first deployed defense personnel in Washington here also with us. So I'm very pleased to have all of our senior command here, Sheldon, all you guys who have worked tremendously hard in bringing this together, our National Security Advisor, of course, but importantly, the Vice-Chancellor of the University of Guyana and your team. We acknowledge the tremendous work that all of you would have done to allow us to be in this position today. And I ask you to applaud yourselves for work well done. You know, I want to also this time recognize a very good friend of Guyana. Not only a friend of Guyana, a friend of international security, a strategic thinker in international security, and someone who has really positioned the National Defense University in the global frame and regional frame in a very, very different way. I want to acknowledge Dr. Paul and the work you're doing, and I ask you to put your hands together for him. Tremendous work that you're doing. And to also acknowledge that this is just the beginning of the partnership and collaboration with Guyana. We intend, within the first half of this year, to bring into establishment the National Defense Institute. We are hoping that the home can be right here at the University of Guyana. So we intend to have the National Defense Institute. That will be a subset, and I'm very strategic in what I'm saying. That will be a subset of the National Defense University here, because we find great alignment between the academic curriculum and the strategic thinking of the National Defense University and our own strategic vision and strategic thinking as your regional security partner. So, Dr. Paul, you mentioned something very important in your speech that I want to highlight before even going into anything I want to say, because you can easily lose this point that you made. Authoritarian leadership. You mentioned it and you moved on. I know you did not have the time to develop what you were going to say about this, but there is an important aspect to the growing authoritarian leadership that we are having internationally. But what is important to this problem that we'll be facing is, why is it attractive to people? Because you still have a level of attraction and support for this type of leadership that baffle their minds. And I think to deal with this, we have to deal with security as a lifelong investment and not just as an opportunistic investment. When you have a security challenge, then you respond. We have to work on ensuring that security and hemispheric security, the fundamentals, and this is one of your modules in a master's program, the fundamentals of international security, hemispheric security, forms the foundational pillars on which the principle of leadership and principle of security and democracy is built. And the more work we can do in ensuring we are able to do this, then we will be building a less attractive ecosystem and environment for this type of problems. And I think that is something we have to contemplate. It is, of course, an issue. You know, people only believe that the security challenge you have every day is the ones you read in the newspaper. But I want to assure you that every day here in Guyana, we deal with different levels of threat and challenges. We deal with it, of course, with our strategic partners. We deal with it with the U.S. Ambassador. You know, you've been engaged almost every day. Southcom has been almost engaged every day. But we deal with it out of the glare of the media, because this is what you do in security every day. You deal with challenges, you deal with threats, but you deal with it in such a way that it does not impede the development of your country, that it does not put at risk the confidence of the system, because that is what, when someone threatens your security, it's not just only a matter of attacking or taking something. It is a matter of putting a dent in the trust in your system, putting a dent in the in the confidence in your system. And that is what is important, because if a dent is placed in the confidence investors have in your economy and in your economic opportunity, then it will make investment decision making very, very much harder and more difficult. So this is an aspect of security threat that is understated, but one that is deployed to derail development and progress in countries. And sometimes those threats are internally generated, and so you have to go deep to see whether they are financed from external sources. Because many times the internal threats, and that is why the University of Guyana is so important, this program is so important, because many times that internal threat comes from a position of academia or someone positioning themselves as a major thinker. And when they position themselves as a major thinker, they then try to position themselves as an influencer. So you have to go to the root of the issue to see where that thinking and that positioning is coming from, whether it's financed externally, because you can never underestimate the threat and how deep the threat runs, and then you have to deal with that, or whether it has other ulterior motives. And this is a type of balancing and understanding of the depth and of the threat. And it is programs like these, it is developing the intellectual minds of those who are responsible for security, those who are responsible for policy making around security. It is this important issues, and you know, Skeet, you would tell the senior and Lorraine, these are things that we have been consistently discussing, and you guys have been training the second group of command to assess threats, and not only to believe that threats are external in nature. Threats can be external in nature, but influence the internal mechanism in a tremendous way. So these are things that I know the Perry Center, the Center for Hemispheric Security, the National Defense University, they have programs that are tailored to directly look at these types of threats and analysis. And that is critical in our security landscape and security environment, to have that ability to do these types of critical and strategic analysis. And that is why I'm very pleased with this collaboration, and I want to see this collaboration extended, and we'll speak a bit about that. So I think in dealing with that issue, we have to go to the root cause, and we have to address why is this type of leadership attractive. Now, I also want to say that this partnership, and this is definitely a partnership, is a true partnership, is about positioning us as a country, as a university. And we want to position Guyana and the University of Guyana, and then the National Defense Institute, as the premier regional security institutions, where not only persons within CARICOM, but we're looking beyond CARICOM, we're looking at Brazil as a major stakeholder, and why not even personnel from Venezuela to be part of our security infrastructure from an institutional perspective, from a training perspective. So we want to see this extended and Guyana being positioned, the University of Guyana being positioned as a central hub for security training, and also the bringing together, the integration of our leaders across the region in terms of security management and leadership, defense leadership. So what do we do now that we've received this award? The first thing I want to challenge the team, and that is the team between the Guyana Defense Force, the University of Guyana, and of course, the Perry Center. I just alluded to the fact that, you know, one of the things that I admire most about the US system is the way in which service is built into the minds of young people. recruitment does not start when you leave college. Recruitment begins in college. There's a level of attractiveness that is brought to the young minds in service at the military level, at the defense level, the security level, that captivates young people at a time in their life when such things captivate them. So how do we ensure that your choice of career in defense or security is not accidental or is not by chance? And now the challenges. Professor Paloma, Chief of Defense Staff, is for us to get into CXC curriculum and to make this a subject area. The fundamentals of hemispheric security, so that students can actually write a subject on the fundamentals of hemispheric security. Note, I did not say regional security. That is because we have to address the problem Dr. Paul alluded to. So I would like us to see, I would like us to lead the effort before the end of this year in building out the curriculum, building out the teaching modules. We do the entire package and hand it over to CXC so that they can introduce this in the secondary school system and students can choose this as an elective, the fundamentals in hemispheric security. And that would allow them an early introduction to how complex security matters are and how important it is in the political economy, or how important it is in the structure of society and the building out of society. So I want to just add that to the ideas that we must have in pushing this and expanding this relationship. Now, the other issue is, what are some of the challenges that we must face today as we expand into other areas? And these are challenges that we face today that requires strategic courses, that requires specific intervention. And when I was at the National Defense University, we spoke about some of these things. I'm pleased to say that during the presidency of Guyana at the United Nations Security Council, we had the honor of presenting on a subject area, that is the effects of war on climate and food. And this is an area that is less spoken about, but we brought this to the fore and we had a full debate. It went beyond the one day that was dedicated to this subject. That tells you the importance and relevance of this subject to not to the United Nations Security Council, but more importantly to every country. So cybersecurity is becoming a major threat for us. We have seen 5 years ago, one may have designated this as a low-level threat in Guyana. We have seen over the last 2 years how intense this threat is becoming. The cyber threat is real. We have seen the information and misinformation campaign during the tensions with our neighbors. We have seen the CARICOM website being hacked and their information platform exposed to all elements. So cybersecurity, as the economy becomes more sophisticated and our reach becomes greater, and this is important. You see, those who are attacking your information set are attacking it because they look at your reach, the reach of the country. And one must acknowledge that the reach of Guyana is becoming more intense, and we are having a greater position globally. And as a result of that, there will be greater interest in what we have, what we store, what information we have, what type of partnership we are having. So cybersecurity is an important issue that we must address. The other issue that we have to address is port security. Our ports are being modernized and expanded at a very rapid pace. We have to ensure that, and port security is not cameras and men. People believe that for some reason it is advanced information gathering. It is strategic analysis. It's understanding who are using your ports, why they're using your ports. It's understanding the global transport and logistics hub. It's understanding what are the threats within the global transport and logistics hubs. Those are some of the things that the port security entails. So we are going with a massive program on port security. So those are two subset programs, I think, that the University of Guyana can work with the Perry Center in developing a module around it. We have to get our port, whether it's the shore-based facilities or all these other facilities that are being built, we have to get their leadership, their managers in a program to understand what constitutes port security, and we have to offer that at the University of Guyana. Same with cybersecurity. Even the private banks, they must be exposed to some sort of training and leadership and understanding the environment. So all the supervisors, the managers, the IT personnel. So that is why these short programs are going to become very, very important and relevant for us. Now, Ambassador, you mentioned something that is really causing me sleepless nights in the region. And that is, we look at terrorism and we have a frame in our mind as to what terrorism is. Maybe a suicide bomber, something on a plane. But, terrorism amplifies itself in different forms. And Ambassador spoke about gangs. The issue of gangs is becoming a serious, serious problem for the region. And if you look at how serious it is, in our secondary school system in the region, you have the development of gangs. What that speaks to is this issue of gang becoming institutionalized and becoming a part of norm, a part of normative action and normative behavior. And that is where the serious threat is, because the level of intensity of gangs and operation of gangs will grow. They may start with fighting each other with stick, to knives, to guns, to grenades. That is how it goes. Because in any system, in that world, you graduate upwards, you don't graduate downwards. Everybody aspires to be in the leadership of the gangs. And that is a reality that we have to confront. And this is a serious challenge. It's not a passing challenge. And I'm happy that Ambassador recognized this. Now, to deal with gangs, though, and that is why I said you have to deal with it from the school system. We have to design specialized programs. Programs that speak to the changing child development ecosystem. If you look at a normal child today, at a very early age, maybe 4, they're exposed to computer games, to handheld games, 90% of which is of a violent nature. So the problem here is that the exposure to crime and fighting and guns is becoming a normative exposure. And you can't change that. That is part of the business world. But you have to deal with it. So how do you develop an ecosystem, a child-friendly ecosystem? Now, this is the third challenge for the crafters, the Guyana Defense Force and University of Guyana and the Perry Center. How do we now develop a training program for our teachers from the time you enter the secondary level to deal with this? So that now we have a specific training program that will address the building of the capacity and capability of our teachers to address this issue and to build an ecosystem that fight back what is already in the society. So that's the third or fourth challenge that I want to put out there. out of this program, and maybe one of the students in this program will do this as their paper, the development of an ecosystem to deal with child development in this environment that we are all operating in. Now, the defense diplomacy is another important area that we are now embarking on. We have, for example, Colonel Skeet, who is posted in Washington. We are going to post different persons from the Guyana Defense Force into different areas. We have the immediate past Chief of Staff as the head of that. Well, he's Ambassador Best now, who is head of the Defense Diplomacy Unit at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, because we're going to build out this unit. We see defense diplomacy as an important aspect of stability, of economic prosperity, and of ensuring that there is alignment with our key partners, ensuring that there is that networking at every level, at the defense level, at the level of ambassadors, foreign affairs, at the level of heads of state, but importantly, at the defense level. This is important. Now, the fifth challenge is how do we springboard where we are to now bring Brazil and the other partners into the program. And this is where we'll have to have some strategic thinking. How do we now use the program? Maybe we will have to modify some of it to deal with specific issues that those countries are faced with. We'll have to add a module on language so that you can actually go through this program and have a second language. There might be the need for some sort of interagency exchange. So all of these things, we have to now look at in building out the program and expanding our footprint. The other challenge we have is digitization and AI. Now, this is an important challenge because a sophisticated criminal or criminal network can build the same capacity and capability on a digitized platform or AI platform as a government and give you the same level of service as a government. Now, that is scary. And that is where the world is going. So a lot of times we believe that digitization, which is true, enhances security, it adds different security layer. But if someone has the same capability and capacity, or some state has the same capability and capacity, not only criminal network, but you can have a state that has this capacity and capability and decide to utilize it against you. This is an important issue, and this is an immense threat to our security apparatus in the future. And we have to start addressing it. We have to start understanding what it is and deal with the challenges from it. Now we have some programs I've been looking at the National Defense University that are relevant to us here. So for example, you have the Capstone program. The Capstone program is a program on training our personnel in joint operation. As a region, we are having more joint operation, the RSS system. As a country, we are having more joint operation. And we're seeing cracks in our joint operation because joint operation historically is the men and women are not trained to operate and think at the same level, to work at the same strategic level. So this is a program I think we must operationalize here in the National Defense Institute. Of course, we need not call it the Capstone program, or we just transfer the Capstone program here. But that program focuses on joint operation, and the situation in Haiti tells you how ill-prepared we were as a region. Now that This challenge has always been there, but we are now scrambling to put together joint command, joint operation. We're now scrambling to train people to operate in joint operation. If we had this program and we had a structure through which we share the same curriculum, we would have had a cadre of leaders around the world who are trained on a common platform to operate in this environment. So dealing with our EEZ, because more and more we'll be partnering with the United States, with different countries in the region, with Brazil, more and more the UK, Canada, we will need to have officers who understand how to operate in joint operation from a theoretical and philosophical perspective. In looking at our EEZ, the regional security system, our information and institutional integration. So that's one program I think that is now critical. Then you have the Pinnacle Joint Leadership Command Program, the Pinnacle Program, and that speaks about commanders, Joint Leadership Command Program, where the commanders are trained on how they come together in joint operation and how they lead joint operation. And this is important. When you look at the issue of joint deployment, whether we say that we are the most high-risk region for natural disasters, and we don't have a program like this, where our joint commanders and joint leaders in the whole ecosystem, security ecosystem, are trained to operate together, are trained to lead together, you know. So this is important. This is another program I think that we have to implement in the National Defense Institute. That will be a subset of what we're doing here, the Pinnacle Joint Leadership Command Program. It also deals with international peacekeeping and the culture of security, developing a culture of security and defense. The Homeland Defense Fellowship is another program that is offered, and here we have been talking about the Border Patrol Unit. We have been talking and we have seen the threat to our borders because of what is happening around us, and this threat is going to intensify. You know, when you have small states, you can be overrun in one night if there is a concentrated approach to breaching your borders. So this is important also. How do we develop a program like the one at National Defense University, the Homeland Defense Fellowship? The final area that I think is critical for us, a lot of our officers may not have done geography, GIS, GPS, mapping, a whole subject area on mapping. And understanding mapping is very critical, not only for Guyana, but for the region, and that's another subset of the program that I want for us to focus on as we move forward. I want to also take this opportunity to congratulate the University of Guyana, to congratulate the Guyana Defense Force and all the stakeholders in achieving and having this award today. The Perry Center is not an ordinary center. The National Defense University is not an ordinary institution. The Center for Hemispheric Studies is not an ordinary institution. These institutions would have crafted programs and developed minds of extraordinary people around the world. You have people from these institutions who are leading in every aspect of life internationally. And I want to say that it is a tremendous honor to achieve this accolade, this award, and we must not take it lightly at all. The Perry Center is perhaps one of the most celebrated institutions globally that focuses on strategic thinking in relation to security and defense. In this center, the National Defense University, you have some of the finest minds globally. And I can tell you, you have some of the finest minds globally on security and defense issues. And in the Inter-American Defense College, also, you have great minds, great thinkers, and strategic thinkers. And I believe that the combination of these institutions as our partners speak volumes. They speak volume to the type of confidence, because these institutions just do not apply their names to your program without being confident about where you're going, what you're doing, and being confident about the leadership. First of all, they have to be confident about the direction the country is going in, and to be assured that the country is taking the right decisions from a democratic perspective, from a security perspective. So that alone, the alignment and the confidence that the Perry Center, the Inter-American Defense Institute, they're placing with the Guyana Defense Force and the University of Guyana, that alone is worthy of celebration. So I thank you, congratulate all of you once more, and I say that we take this as one small step in the journey ahead of building out an ecosystem that would be second to none with the Perry Center, National Defense University, the Inter-American Institute of Defense Studies. So congratulations to all, and God bless you all.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. And we have so much homework. My mom used to be a teacher. Your mom used to be a teacher. And as sons of mothers, we know what we have to do when homework is given. Thank you so much, Mr. President. And your expectations of the National Defense Institute being anchored here was for me a great joy. And it's happening at a time when Ramadan just started, and we're at the end of Lent. And therefore, for those of us who subscribe to both of them, there comes a triumphant and joyful experience after this. Thank you very much, sir. And please let's give our president a real big round of applause for his. It's now time for the presentation of the award to the University of Guyana. And accepting this award on our behalf is the University of Guyana's 11th Vice-Chancellor, Professor Paloma Mohamed Martin, and let us welcome her and the center that would present this award. Thank you very much.
Good morning. If I might take the liberty, please, Excellency, of inviting you up, as well as Omar and Colonel Howell, Brigadier Khan and Colonel Howell, as well as Debbie. Come on. Ms. Hopkinson. Registrar. This award is as much theirs as it's ours. I think it's fitting that we share the moment. DVC? President?
No, go ahead.
Forward.
On the left of you, I think.
Ladies and gentlemen, please permit me to go off script for a minute and to really congratulate the President on what is a tour de force in security and intelligence. That was a lesson, sir. Thank you very much. Yes, you can clap. Because it really was. With humble hearts and heads bowed down, in thanks for each new day of toil, we kneel before your altar, Lord, the children of Guyana's soil. But not in vain, we'll strive to build a new Guyana, great and free, a land of glory and of hope, a land of love and unity. I think these words from one of our famous hymn writers, Dr. Valerie Rodway, written many, many years ago. This was one of the songs that was put up to be our national anthem just before we became independent, but it didn't make it. But it is one of those songs that we sing in school as children that always resonate deeply in my own heart when moments like these arrive. You'll permit me to stand on the protocols already observed because, you know, there are pages and pages, and we want to make sure we keep to our time. But I must say that waiting to hear the President this morning was really, really, I think, a strategic and important move, because many of the things that he's spoken about, the university have been listening to and working with members of the government and other stakeholders. And I'd like to say, sir, that some of those we could really take on board already. So for instance, we are on the board of CXC, as you know, and so the interest that you have indicated from your level for CXC to take on board some of these programs, we will action those immediately. You may know already that the university is launching its Marine Studies program, a Marine Institute actually, in about 2 weeks. And some of these areas that you have indicated are on there, some are not, so we will take that under advisement. The same center, the Institute for Human Resiliency, Strategic Security in the Future, you may or may not know this, but when this program was launched, we did not have that institute. And it is because of the intense discussions that have been taking place with NISA, with GDF, with the Guyana Police Force and others around the question of security that we realized that we would have needed an institute, such an institute, because the other faculties in the university are not really designed to work as quickly as we needed to work around this. And so we will take under advisement here with the work on gangs that you've spoken about. But already, in the next 2 weeks, we begin the work from the Institute on the diplomacy side. What do I mean? Each one of the embassies, in alphabetical order, will be, have been already, invited to do a forum every 2 weeks on democracy and strategic geopolitical issues. But that's a closed forum, just for students and other special invitees. So that's beginning in 2 weeks' time. So that's happening. We also work with NASA and the Center for Earth and Environmental Studies at the university, the faculty, on mapping, GIS mapping. We're about to open another lab, so we already offer a program. But offering to the constituent that you have indicated is something that we will do. And the last thing I would like to note is the work on aviation. There's something on aviation that we're discussing now with Captain Gavaya. So we would hope that we could get that moving too, because ports and aviation, of course, together. So that was a long list, but we can assure you we will work on the list. So in saying thank you, I'd like to really acknowledge persons who are here this morning who worked on the development of this program. And I'd like to acknowledge Dr. Jacqueline Murray, Dr. Malcolm Williams, Dr. Mac Wilfred, Dr. Lee, Ms. Natalia Bob Semple, and all of those other persons from inside the university who worked on the program and brought it together very, very, very early. They're here. Could you please stand up? Bruce as well. Bruce Lovell as well, right? Some of them were overseas. We also worked with Mark Culane from the U.S. Embassy, who's no longer here. He's back in Washington. Arizona State University and their Center for War that they have, and their strategic center, of course, the Perry Center and the National Defense University, and several others, because we had a colloquium approach to this. But these people worked very, very, very hard and very, very quickly, and I really, really want to thank them for this, and to Debbie and others for bringing the program to its completion. It would be remiss of me if I did not mention the name of Sean Welcome, who was one of our first graduates, and who, of course, within 1 month of graduating, would have lost his life. In fact, 3 of those 5 servicemen who went down in that ill-fated chopper were university graduates. There has been an award in the center named for Sean, and we have a building, a science building, that is going to be named for the engineer who is going to be there. But the importance of doing this work cannot be overstated. We saw in between August and January 2023 the tremendous foresight of this president and those who worked with him in trying to ensure that Guyana had a battle-ready brain, because the University of Guyana will not be necessarily the ones to go out and fight, but if we have to, we will pick up our arms as well, I can assure you. But we're the ones who will prepare the hearts and the brains and the intelligence. And in the last 6 months, the number of ways in which the university was engaged in this fight, in a certain sense, for the survival of our territory cannot be named. But some of those are known, some will never be known. But we are, in fact, very, very involved in making sure not only that the nation's troops and its security and defense officers and forces are equipped in a certain way, but also that our students and staff and this country knows that we are standing here as the nation's university to do this. The National Defense Institute, we've already identified a building, Mr. President, on the campus. I am told that you are not going to wait beyond June, and so we are going to deliver by June. So we're working with Colonel Howell, Brigadier Khan, and others to make sure that what you are envisaging, we can deliver, at least to begin to deliver in a short space of time. So that work is really going a long way. So in closing, I accept this award not only on behalf of the Center, the Institute for Resilience, the University of Guyana, but also our great nation of Guyana. Everything that we do in this university is for this country, and now with our regional and hemispheric focus, we do it in the best interest of those who are friends of this country and who support this country. And so this is not a moment, a slight moment, a moment that is to be brushed aside perfunctorily. It is a highly, highly significant moment. And that this president stood here less than 2 years ago to launch this very program, and today we can see it being really celebrated as a program of excellence, a signal program, and one that will do great things, is highly remarkable. We know that you are busy. I will abandon the rest of my speech so that we allow you to go. I know President, as many others, are observing Ramadan as well, so we want to respect that and that need to get maybe to mosque and so on at a certain time. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I say thank you. May God bless us all, and may we all of us, endeavor and continue to live in a country and in a hemisphere which is really, really distinguished by peace, and that peace is only going to be guaranteed by the work we do. I want to really, really respect and recognize the work of our colleagues in the media, our colleagues in the military, all the military, those who are known and not unknown. Your sacrifices and your work is not unnoticed. We want you to know that. And I also want to recognize, finally, our colleagues here from George Brown College in Canada who are visiting with strategic interest. They do work in cybersecurity, so that's one of the things we're discussing. They're also doing work with Gold, Mr. President, so just so you know, they are. But also we have some colleagues here from Florida A&M and Virginia A&M universities working on the food security aspect. So I'd like to recognize that they're here, and also to recognize, of course, the inimitable Dr. Bittencourt in particular, who will be having a press forum this afternoon on a very provocative topic with some of our colleagues. And so I hope we will see you back at 5 this afternoon to hear him as well as others speak on the topic of governance in turbulent time, defense governance in turbulent times. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. President, I thank you for this opportunity. God bless us all.
Vice-Chancellor, thank you so much. And you sounded like what I will never miss an opportunity, a historian. But thank you. And the next feature, quickly, I didn't want to miss this opportunity to speak very briefly 2 sentences about the steel pan, and particularly for our visitors abroad that are visiting with us. The steel pan is a musical instrument that originates in the Caribbean. It's our intellectual property, and specifically out of Trinidad and Tobago. It had a period of development that started actually in 1880, but was perfected by 1937. We are proud, all of us in the Caribbean, to look at this instrument, which started from the oil drums, but today has been a seminal instrument for lovely music. And with that introduction, I now invite you to a very brief interlude of steel pan given to us by one of our pan players. Let us welcome her, please.
together and feel all right. A big round of applause. We thank you. And that's the melody that comes from Sweet Pan. A big round of applause. And as we bring the curtains down on this very important and historic ceremony, I'll invite Mrs. Debbie Hopkinson, the Director of the Institute of Human Resilience, Strategic Security, and the Futures, to extend vote of thanks on behalf of the University, the Government of Guyana, on this very special occasion. And thereafter, I'll ask you to remain standing for the departure of His Excellency, the President, and to invite you for refreshments thereafter. Let's welcome Ms. Debbie Hopkinson, the Director of the Institute, to do her vote of thanks.
Thank you. Good afternoon to everyone. I must say that I appreciate, Honorable President, that you have remained for the vote of thanks. So, all protocols having been observed, I'd like to say on behalf of the esteemed 11th Vice-Chancellor, Professor Paloma Mohamed Martin, the senior management team, management and staff of the Institute for Human Resiliency, Strategic Security and the Future, and all of the University of Guyana. Your Excellency, your presence here has been invaluable. It reflects your continued interest in the advancement of the MSD program. We are extremely grateful to you for commissioning the MSD program. We believe that there are some improvements required. Notwithstanding, there is a cadre of strategic development professionals who are now in the employ of our security agencies and various ministerial institutions in Guyana. They are now capable of providing guidance on policy, decision-making, and plans to increase the network for wider synergies that can help to prevent security risk to our nation. In those very areas that you mentioned, Your Excellency, for example, cyber and food security. In response to the challenge and critical areas outlined by Your Excellency, I can assure you that they will be sourced through our recordings. We will review those comments, and it will serve to inform our curriculum planning going forward. However, the challenge to build out a short program or short programs as it relates to cyber and food security is already in the pipelines. And as such, we continue to covet your support to ensure this become a reality. We are working with our students on ensuring their work is stored in the repository of our library for reference and also for publishing. The University of Guyana already has an AI policy, but will endeavor to embark on training security personnel on the immense threats that may be associated with AI and digitization. Distinguished Brigadier Omar Khan, you have been instrumental in the development and establishment of the MSD program, for which we are distinctively grateful. More so that you continue to provide insightful reviews and make sterling contributions toward the progression of the program. Colonel Sheldon Howell, having succeeded in the position of Director of NISA, your staunch support to the Institute and its security offense and endeavors, we are sincerely thankful to you. Hence, I wish to now charge the MSD scholars and graduates of the Institute, because the management of the Institute anticipates that you will aptly apply the knowledge and skills gained to emerging work situations which require application of critical tenets such as strategic leadership, policy development, and competencies pertaining to the analysis of state institutions and governance. Esteemed Vice-Chancellor, Professor Paloma Mohamed, I am honored to be leading this institute under your skillful and wise leadership at this time. You have provided the guidance necessary to steer the institute towards its achievements and being the recipient of this very significant award. The presence of the U.S. Ambassador is noted and appreciated. It demonstrates an interest for security training, defense leadership, and deeper collaboration towards the achievement of human resilience and security systems to safeguard our nation. To Dr. Louis Bettencourt and Dr. Paul J. Angelo of the William J. Perry Center for Hemispheric Defense Studies, we are profoundly pleased to receive this award. for hemispheric defense studies in relation to the Master of Strategic Development Program offering. Despite the delayed commencement of the program and the challenges usually associated with the startup of any program, the Institute forged ahead and graduated 17 students consisting of cohort 1 and 2 in the academic year of 2023. This will surely empower the Institute to forge deeper collaborations with the Perry Center and other defense networks around the world in shaping the conversations and frameworks for national strategic development and in response to defense and security-related issues. Please accept and convey our profound, compelling gratitude. Eminent lecturers and colleagues of the IHRSSF, well, we call it IHRSSF for short, because as you would know by now, it's a very long name, and sometimes we don't always get it right. So, of the Institute, thanks to all the lecturers who delivered respective courses within the suite of courses offered in the Master of Strategic Development Program. We are certainly grateful for your expert delivery of knowledge, technical and strategic development skills that have honed the competencies of the MSD scholars to operate proficiently within the spheres of their own strategic environments. Special thanks to our administrative assistant, Ms. Arifia Shahabuddin, whose proficiency as an administrator, I would like to say second to none. And those who know, I'm quite sure, would agree with me. To the newer staff members, such as the Deputy Director, Head of Department currently, Dr. Michelle Mariah and Ms. Shadelia Hodge, sincere appreciation for the work you do and your support at all levels. To Ms. Charwa Gayer, Ms. Bacchus, Ms. Valentine, Ms. Aziz, and Ms. Kemaraj, and all others who worked on creating the aesthetics for this venue and to coordinate the event, heartfelt thank you to you all. To the technical team within the Publicity and Communication Unit, led by Mr. Dio North and staff, in particular, Ms. Tara Smith and Ms. Nikita Ford, we are grateful. In this regard, we are thankful to all the media agencies represented here today. We look forward to a comprehensive and objective and influential coverage concerning this event and the MSD program offering. To the manager and staff of the Maintenance Department, thank you for the hard work in ensuring this venue was prepared and arranged to facilitate the event. Thanks once again to all who worked behind the scenes. God bless you all. Thank you.
And as chairman, it is my pleasure to bring this afternoon's proceedings to a close. Please remain standing as we allow for the departure of His Excellency, the President of the Co-operative Republic of Guyana. And the President would be escorted by our Vice-Chancellor, Professor Paloma Mohamed. Thereafter, we are all invited to share in some light refreshments. Thank you for coming. God bless you and have a productive afternoon.